Welcome back. Now, in the last video, we have created the registered account form, and I told you that in the next video, I will be implementing the events and listeners and will send the email to the user using the mail trap. But I am not going to do that in this video since my internet is not working quite well. That's why I am skipping that part until the next video. And in this video, we are going to work on the login part. So let's go ahead and quickly see how that login should work. Before that, let's register an account and I'm using the fake filler. So let's see what the password it sets for us. Or maybe we can just set it up to some basic password right now, and I will register it, and there we go. All right, so what I need to do is basically I need to add a functionality of logging a user via email and password, and the account should be since we are going to develop three different applications, one for the admin, one for the company, and one for the user. So obviously we have three different roles. We are not going to implement all these functionalities, all these roles, and all the functionality in the one application since that's quite will be a cumbersome because there will be a lot of code going around in one application, and I don't really like that thing. If it's maybe related to two like company and user, that's fine. But since we are dealing with three roles here, so I think so we should probably split our application. All right. So what we need to do is basically, first of all, let's quickly go ahead into our login where it is this one. Let me close all other things that I don't need right now and the errors. Okay, so let the user stay here and everything else. Okay, so what I need to do is basically for this login, let me go to the post and I will make it the post request, and inside the post it will we will create a function named as, let's say, authenticate, and just rename this as authenticate, and everything is good to go. And let's go ahead inside our method is post action should be the route, and the route name is authenticate, like so. And one more thing, we also need to pass in the CSRF, and then the required autofocus, and one more thing, we need the old value of the email, like so. And the password, yeah, so the password will just only be required. We are not going to reload the password here. And there is one more thing, which is the remember me token, and we will see how we can handle it. All right, so we will also implement the login functionality, but not for the admin part, so we are going to remove this one. We will do this for the user section. And if I come and reload the page, and everything still works. All right, so what I need to do is basically inside the login controller, we need to create a function named as public function and authenticate. Now, what this function will accept, it will basically accept two parameters. Sorry, the one parameter that is the request object, and like so. So, as I earlier mentioned, that we can do this in two ways. One, we can validate things in controller, and the other thing, the most Laravel way, is we can make the form requests. So, I'm going to do that as I previously did for the user account creation. So, PHP artisan make request login request, or maybe let's say authenticate. I think so we should probably stick to login, and the request is created. So what I need to do is basically go to our app http. Inside the request we have login. All right, so what I need to do is here just reformat the code a little bit, and authorized set it to true, and then the pass the validation rules. So we are accepting two values from front end. One is the email and the second is password. So let's go ahead and type in the email, and it should be required, and it should be valid email. And a minimum, it should be, let's say, just set it up to maybe 10 characters. All right. The next thing is the password. So password, and the password should be the first will be required. All right, so the only thing for the password, it will be required, I think so. One more thing that we need to do is basically inside our register account. I also need to mention here that it should be string. Now the first name and last name, obviously they both will be string, so it should be string. That's the requirement I forgot here. Everything looks good and it's returning the value. So let's go ahead and inside the controller, let's get this class as a dependency, and I will say request, like so, and dollar request. And obviously this will import the HTTP, not the HTTP request. We are going to have sorry, the login request. We named it as a login, and we will just say um, I'm not sure why is it not including the file here. So hmm, I think so we need to rename this thing. Let's quickly go ahead and copy this thing, delete the login one from here, and I will make the request. Since we have two classes with the same name login, so I will just rename it as login request. Just paste in the rules here and just return it as true. All right. So now this should work. So I will say login request, and there we go, request. All right. So I will remove this thing. And what I need to do is basically I need to check the login. I need to log in the user. So how we can do that is basically first accept this from the request, um, or maybe we can just say, because this is validated input, so we can say email. And the next thing we can, all right, so it's not like so, this is the one, this is the way we can do it. And the second one will be the password. So request password. So there are a lot of ways doing so. We can either get it through request, through the inside the array, or we can also get it using the uh, request input parameter, the method. So I think that's the preferable way I choose. Let me just quickly go through here from this one. All right. So what I need to do is basically I also need to get the remember me token. So by default, let's set the value of this to 1. And inside the login, we need to pass one more thing. What it should be all right. So what we can do is basically uh, just get the remember. And since we are using this request, so this request is coming from the login request we have created, and it will only return us the email and the password. And if we do this like request input and give me the um, remember me token, so I don't think so it should return us something. So what we need to do is basically we can use the helper function, like so, and by using that we can also get the key from this variable, uh, like so. I think so it should work like this, yeah. So remember, and we can pass in the default value, it should be 0. All right. So now what we need to do is basically if auth, and we need to load this facade check, or maybe if auth attempt, and the credentials should be let's go ahead and create an array of credentials. and the credentials should be in the form of array, and the array will be email, um, like so, email and the password. So we need to pass in this thing as an credentials argument. The first argument will be the credentials, so I will pass in the credentials. And the second argument it accepts is basically it accepts. You can see that it's asked for the remember me token. So we will get this remember me token here. Now, if this works, so what will it do is it will basically create a session for the user. So what we need to do is basically we need to uh, generate the session we need to regenerate the session token for the security purposes, and then we need to redirect the user to the dashboard page. One more thing that we have forgot here is basically the role. The role should be the admin that I have earlier talked about. That it should only log in the admin users. And once everything is done here, what we can do is basically we can say the request session, and inside this request we also have sessions. We also get sessions from the Laravel, and I will say regenerate like so, and I will redirect it to return redirect. Now redirect intended. Now what this intended will do, it will basically uh, do something like if if there is if the request came from another URL, let's say the user wants to access the post page and he or she is not logged in, and once the user will log in, and he will automatically redirect it to that URL by using the intended function here. And we can also pass this thing default route. So if that route does not exist, the user just only came from the login page, so he should not be redirected to login page again, but instead he should be the user should be redirected to the dashboard page. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to create another route get dashboard, and uh, let's pass this and make this a function. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly create a new controller. PHP artisan make controller uh, dashboard like so, and we will just load the controller here, dashboard class, and inside this I will name it as the index, and also I will name this as the dashboard. So dashboard is the controller, index is the method, and the name of this is basically the dashboard. All right, so I will load the class up here, and one thing that I need to make sure here is that I should name this as redirect. And if that does not login, that does not work. So what I need to do is basically return, maybe return redirect uh, back with. So with here I will pass in the error, and I will say invalid credentials like so. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly give this a run and see if everything works. So if I reload the page and I type in some dummy information here and try to log in, issue says invalid credentials. And if I go using this account, this email, and I type in the, and it should automatically that, oh, that does not work. Hmm. Let me see what happens here. Inside this authenticate, and we are also setting up here is the old email. It should get the old email here, but it's not working for that. um Let me see what it is. So the role is admin, and the password, I have set this password for something else. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly create another account, and I will use this, and the password will be this simple password. It should work this time. Let me grab the email ID from here and try to log in the user using this email. Log in. It still does not work. Let me see what the issue is. All right. So I have gone through, I have spent quite a lot of time to figure out what the issue is. Now, the issue is basically that we are passing the email here for the password instead of the password. So that was the mistake here. And if I just save it, come to here, reload the page, and try to log in another user and set the password to simple admin and admin. And I just, if I go back and create an account with that, log in with that, and it should work. Now you can say that the dashboard is does not exist. So let's quickly go into dashboard controller and create a function, uh, public function index. And to make sure that everything works, so we can just say auth user, and we can load the user instance inside the function. And if I reload it, and we can see that the user has been loaded and we are into the dashboard. Now one more thing is that now if I try to go back to my main route, what it will do, it will basically redirect me to the home controller. I don't want, so is the home route. So the home route does not exist. Now what I want is basically go into our um, auth service provider, and inside the auth service provider we should see, I think so, not in auth service provider, the route service provider, what where it is, route service provider. Now you can see inside the route service provider we are going to the home. So what I need to do is basically redirect it to the dashboard, save it, come back, and go one more time, and we are redirected to the dashboard. Now what I need to do is basically I will also need to secure my dashboard so that the unauthenticated users cannot access it. So what I will do is basically route middleware, and I will apply the middleware of auth, and I will group this, and will call the pass in the callback function, the closure function, and just paste it here. Now if I go back to dashboard, I should able to access it, and if I go to here it will redirect me. And if I open a new terminal and copy this URL and paste here, it will redirect me to the login page. All right, so that's about it in this video, and I hope so if in the next video my internet goes well, so I will create the events and listeners, and we will dispatch those events, and will send the emails to the mailtrap.io. So if you have liked the video and enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe my YouTube channel. And that's about it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.